talk to your city. Oops. But before I continue, allow me to qualify. There are two types of talking. The first type goes nowhere. And we're all pretty good at that. It's called a rant. Right? We do it in the morning, on our way to work. We do it during lunch in a cafe. We do it during tea time in the office pantry. We do it at dinner. We do it at weekends, right? But ranting allows us to feel or develop this deep sense of connection with the people around us about the sense of powerlessness or frustration, right? It also removes us from any sense of responsibility about, the bad things that happen around us. So I'm not asking you to stop ranting. I'm asking you to take it to the next level, right? The second type of talking, the sort of talking that helps, translates, change, transform, right? And this second type of talking is about creating a survey, a discourse, a conversation, if you may, and a conversation with our city. Cities are a sum of places and people. And to borrow a quote from Geoffrey West, a physicist, he said that cities are just a physical manifestation of our interaction. Places or built environments, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of control over, right? These are some of the photos that we have taken as a survey before we started the project. And as you can see, bus stops in KL, bus stops in Malaysia, bus stops in cities in general do not divert much. They all have the same cookie-cutter design. They are rather boring. What you see is what you get. Right? But people, on the other hand, people, if given an opportunity and perhaps dying for an opportunity, want to react, want to respond, and want to interact, and above all, we all want to connect, right? So the question or the challenge that we put ourselves in was to ask ourselves, what can we do with uninspiring spaces or places like this, like a bus stop, to inspire people? To move them forward, to talk, to have a conversation, right? Are you bored? And that was the question, and that was the first question that we asked. And what we saw was that when you have bus stops or when you have a public transportation system in a city where it's not entirely reliable, right? Buses don't arrive at the right time, you tend to have long idle time waiting and doing nothing. We see that as a wastage of brain cycle. We see that as a lost opportunity for people to interact and think about things, right? So we think the city goes into a waste when people do nothing while they wait. And so we thought, while they are waiting, why don't we do an intervention? Why don't we do an intervention while they wait? And hence, we started this project called While We Wait. And it is essentially a pedestrian-level intervention to engage bored commuters, right? As you can see, While We Wait, or the first intervention that we did was essentially a flowchart game that asks a series of questions to find out whether you are a bored commuter or you are actually a zombie in the city. All before your bus arrives. And by our city standard, we found out that you can actually play this game a few times over. When we started this project, we wanted to throw ourselves a challenge that change or positive change happens in the city without depending too much on what happens above, because places and policies are pretty much dependent on the governments of today, right? Whoever who is in power. We want to create a sense of change from a bottom-up perspective. So we thought, okay, if we're going to take this to a municipal council or the local council, they're not going to give us the permission. And in a city where projects tend to fail because of a convenient excuse that, there's no permit. We thought we'll take things into our own hands and try several guerrilla manners to put this project together in bus stops. We did it at night, at 10 p.m. We had a few cohorts in the printing company that helped us print the stuff. Kids, don't try this at home. This is in Kelana Jaya. We installed it just before midnight. Within 24 hours, it was taken down by MBBJ. Very efficient. The one in KLCC actually lasted 2 weeks. We think it's a combination of tardy enforcement and also perhaps that slight confusion that that intervention was actually a real bus stop ad. Yeah, so that helped in our favor. So we did several other interventions in bus stops. We put tables, we allow people, we wanted to break routines. We wanted to use those interventions to break routine. And we think that when we create those sort of intervention at public spaces like bus stops, we essentially create conversation and collect data. And through this data, we have revelations that are phenomenal, although sometimes the results are not so encouraging. We only got a total of 5 seconds from this lady over here. But at the end of the day, while we wait aspires to create conversations by asking questions, by creating a survey, by creating this temporary sense, this temporary congregation for people to have a conversation with each other, to have strangers to respond and find solidarity in that space that is quite boring. Yes, as you can see, the vote of confidence in our bus service. And what happened was that recently, Daniel, who is the organizer of this TEDxKL, decided that While We Wait was a worthy project to take to the City 2.0 pitch at TED Global in Edinburgh, Scotland. We didn't win the 10,000 grant. While we didn't win the grant, we won some hearts. And so people at the conference or at the pitch decided to donate for the project to continue. And this year's TED prize is not awarded to a person, it's awarded to an idea. And we think that, therefore, coming back to the original premise when we started asking this question, are you bored? We wanted to, or rather, we aspire to interact with our city with unique ways, but more than that, to open up that process. Our methodologies are open. So we have this manifesto, right? Contributing to positive change. Making the city a bit livable, not a bit more, or more livable and lovable. Reclaiming our shared spaces. At the end of the day, the manifesto wants everyone to get the best, from the city and to do the best for our city. And that is an initiative that was started by an online community culture magazine called postcode.my. And all our projects are open and collaborative in that sense because we believe that the city is an open space. The city is an open canvas for us to collaborate. If you see me later, you can ask for one of these badges. They're not freebies. They are actually a testament of your commitment for the manifesto statement that we have. So if you feel that you want to do something, come and talk to me. I'll happily pass you one of the badges. But Better KL has a hashtag as a prefix because we believe, like all projects that can sustain itself, ideas cannot be closed, ideas cannot be proprietorship. Ideas have to be open and viral, and that means the same way you take ownership of your rise or any sort of like hashtag, viral hashtag on social media and on Twitter, that you can take and claim ownership of the campaign or for the statement Better KL, right? And our projects are open and collaborative. Our questions are all open-ended. Our methods are not new, but we seek only to do one thing, which is to break old prejudices, break that old way of thinking that change can only come from the top. And if we can't change the top, we can never change our surroundings, our urban environment, right? And we hope that we can replicate this elsewhere. The projects are simple. Identify bus stop, do something at that bus stop, create questions that will interact with the people. And at the end of the day, we hope that this will go to Penang, right? Kota Baru, PJ, Jakarta, Singapore, whatever. In essence, what we're trying to create here is to seed that sense of wanting to improve your cities. And we are launching a platform or a website to share ideas, and it is Better Cities, as in .es. So if you're interested, go to the website or talk to me and share this and spread this idea that change can happen bottom up. At the end of the day, I would say keep talking, not the first one, the second type. Thank you.